Hey, what's going on? It's Bebop here, and today's video is going to be about tanking. Sorry, it's Laz again, but you know, trying to get people to run depths, impossible. And I dang sure wouldn't run a Star Stone with double silence. That just sounds terrible. And the one time I did get in there this week, it was one of the worst dungeons I've ever been a part of, so did not want to relive that experience. So here we are in Laz for the billionth time, and I'll get into Chartist toward the end of the video. But this group, I met one of the guys. I don't think all of them know each other or whatnot. I think maybe a couple do, but I was on my Alta character, the Cletus Bundy, and I saw a guy at the life ring area farming some, weapons or weapon XP. And I saw him have a sword and shield, and he had the defensive formation on. So I messaged him and said, hey man, just a suggestion. Never use defensive formation, go leadership side, because of the 10% leadership damage bonus to every teammate is huge, and there's no need for defensive formation in this game. And so he was pretty cool about it, and I introduced myself and all that stuff, and he was like, well, do you want to tank a Laz and for us and kind of show me how it's done? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I logged on my Bebop account, and here we are. I'm running sword and shield since that's what we were talking about. I prefer flail in this first room. I just feel like it's way better, but you're going to be on the hammer most of the time anyways. So, but the flail getting to this door and aggroing on the way with those guys walking toward the middle of the platform is, I think, a really good thing. And then also transitioning from right here to the second door over there on the third wave is really good to have the flail compared to the sword and shield. But then again, you can get your heart ruined a lot faster with this butcher, with the bleeds, and it's all what you want to do. Either way is fine. So you can even do it with a greatsword if you wanted to. But yeah, so as a tank, you got to gauge what's going on with the DPS. Now, this group was very good at listening. So anytime I was on the mic saying, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, they were able to listen and pick it up, and it was the best pug group I've ever been a part of as far as listening. And they just rotated when they needed to, and it was really great. So, but the damage was definitely low, and I could sense that. As a tank, you gotta gauge the damage. Right here it looks fine. As we get going, you'll see it's definitely slow, and you got to realize, okay, we got some slow damage here. We do have some people getting melted to fire, so maybe not everybody's 63% gemmed. Ran into a few people like that this week who insisted that they are the Giga Chads, and they run at 40%, and they're just the greatest thing known to man. And I don't know what I'm talking about, but whatever. I don't know what these guys were gemmed at. I didn't host lobby and check gears, and it could have just been getting knocked. Hell, I got knocked plenty this week being DPS. So those fire explosions don't play. The name fire don't play at all. So I had my fair shares of, hell, even getting knocked into the drink over there. So, but as a tank, you want to try to not put your DPS in a bad situation. And if I do end up, the clear out's the one thing that will put you in a bad position or change the direction of the fight. Right here, that clear out might have been the clear out to get me kind of out of position where I know DPS is going to come from the archers. They're going to be on my backside. So I said I'm going to put my back toward the wall. And then I noticed the guys are in a very bad spot. DPS are going to have a hard time trying to, when I say guys, I mean the enemies. The DPS are going to have a hard time getting behind them. So I just reposition again. Also, knowing the crawler's probably going to come up too, I'll be the first one to be able to grab him. There he is. And with it being fired, I'm not going to drag over early. I'm going to wait. I want to wait till he's really low health, because I don't want extra fire being dropped over there. The name fire is just ridiculously hot. So right here, I'm just kind of waiting, seeing when the health's getting low. I feel like it's manageable right there. Might be a little bit early, but of course these guys are already out. I tell the guys, hey, do not hit these guys. Let them come in, because if you start hitting them, you're gonna get aggro back there, and I won't go get you. I'm not gonna go running out there, and no, that's on you. So they did a great job by not hitting. All of them came inside, grouped up really nice, except for the one javelin thrower over there. And basically it's just a lot of CC in this dungeon. And these guys move around a lot, so you will see a lot of people running vines. If, you know, more than 2 people are running vines, it's just too many. As a tank in a pug lobby, I run resilient vines, which will give me fortify. And right here, I was telling the healer to shoot those guys down there to bring them up. Just trying to show them something a little different because I know they're pretty new. Really didn't do what I wanted. If you stand off to my left right here, you can shoot down just fine and they come right up. But anyways, a lot of times in a random group, I'll go down there and they're just so spread out, it's just a nightmare. Right here, they're a little bit more concentrated. Then again, you got the danger of falling off into the water. So once I see all the main little dudes are gone, I'm gonna bring the big dude down and get ready for the next group to spawn. Now, if you don't want this next group to spawn and you got a good group with you, whoever talks to Scylla just jumps off in the water before crossing the bridge. And that way it will not spawn these enemies. But most people are going to come across the bridge, spawn the enemies, which is just fine. Waiting for that grab well. Still waiting for the grab well. It's all good. We don't need it, baby. And right here, I was showing the healer when a lot of healers like to go aggro the archer and then move down. So I was showing the healer, look, if you want to do that, you come right here, get the aggro, and you go behind this rock. You don't have to crouch or lay down if you get behind the tall pointy part, because they will shoot, but it'll hit that and you'll be just fine. Then they'll walk down every time perfectly. Right here, I'm kind of asking, you know, is a great gravity well ready? And then take a regen pod, everybody, when you're coming up. Right now, got aggro on the big dude, the 2 archers, and I'm just trying to make sure the crawlers aren't going too far away. And it's really about CC right here. This is one of the best jobs of CC I think I've ever seen on this boss, so it was really nice. Everybody did their part, man. That was great. Not one slam the whole time. Right here, telling the healer to shoot that archer there on the right side where the wash of hands is, and then get behind the wall. He gets thrown. That javelin dude just threw that shit so hard. That dude probably flew through the door. Holy hell. So I'm gonna go on the backside here. That way the DPS and everybody just boom, they come down the stairs right to the back, get them back shots, baby. Giggity giggity. Now we wait for the next mobs to spawn. So if everybody goes up to the right of the stairs, you will not aggro that archer on the far back left, but DPS did a great job going over there and get them, because, you know, that's what you need to do a lot of times. Someone's going to roll back too far and aggro them, then the healer's dead. Then next thing you know, we're all dead. So this guy's lonely over there. I said I'm going to go into the water. Kind of letting the DPS know if you keep hitting them back there, just be careful. You might get aggro, but don't freak out. Had an area taunt ready to go anyways. So right there you saw the Maelstrom split them up a little bit. The second spin of Maelstrom will pull. So if you want to run Maelstrom, it's a lot of times a really good idea to take off the second spin. Yeah, you don't get the damage or whatever, but then again, it doesn't pull the enemies out about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. Now right here is this very difficult part, and you got to be very calculated. You got to go up there and press E and dodge, and just make sure you wash your hands. I know it's very difficult, and I mean, I don't know how most groups get past this part. This is very, very intense, you know, part of the dungeon. I mean, coming over here, pressing E, I mean, whew, it took a while to kind of get that down. I mean, once you're past that, I mean, the rest of the dungeon's easy. I mean, we're still here. What are we doing? So, you can tell these guys are pretty new. And it's... dude, it should never take this damn long to wash your hands. Oh my god. Like, you get to an M3, that should not be a thing, man. Come on, guys, y'all are better than that. Normally I switch to light gear here, but hell to the no. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna stay in my big beefcake, you know, freaking heavy tank gear here. I'm gonna jump around to look cracked out, ready to go. And all this is timing your abilities and your fortify with her attacks. So a lot of times I like to shield rush right when she's throwing the javelin. And you know, you got to have your fortify. Once you get to 25 stacks, you want to make sure you space out your fortify with your defender's resolve, usually with the fortify shield rush, which is not on this shield here, because this is the Night Veil or the Night Veil tower shield with refreshing move on it. So, but you don't need fortify shield rush, but it does help. It just makes it a lot easier. I have my vine, so it's an extra fortify if I need it. Now there is one area that I do mess up the timing of the dodge, which is just me being me. You know, sometimes it happens. But other than that, you should be very active. A lot of tanks, if you're seeing this and you're getting into tanking, you need to be swinging away like this. There's no reason not to. Your swords, cooldowns, you want to get as quick as you can. That's where I messed up on the dodge. And every third hit of your light attack chain will put a 5% rend down for I believe it's 2 seconds on the enemy. And your whirling blade adds 15% rend. So you want to constantly try to get that down, stay active, do damage. And not just be hiding behind your shield, waiting for the boss to turn and smack someone up and knock them. So we're at 25 stacks, but I'm in heavy 300 con, so it's not a big deal at all. Just ride it out. If you're in light here, obviously you have a round shield. Don't do 25 stacks. Just, you know, you could tank this boss at 100, 150 con light if you have the right gear. And you could just, you know, whenever the ball comes up, just put it down. Everybody can DPS just fine. And you shouldn't get knocked or killed or anything through this boss. I think the most dangerous part of that boss is if you have a spear and you're behind her and you go and do the sweep as she's rearing back to swing left to right or right to left. Because you can get hit on that. I mean, don't ask me how I know, baby. I mean, I've heard of things happening, bruh. I have one guy with a musket put 2 traps down, everybody go up top and then come down. Or, I don't know, as tank, well, I don't think I'm ever running lads again. But I would just stay in the middle because this happens every time. Oh, just lock him out. Lock him out. Who cares about the other guy, you know? He was nice enough to put a pylon down, but screw him. Keep him out, bro.
Yeah, it was black, brother.
And yes, I could have stayed in the middle room or whatnot, but I mean, hell, also you can come up here and then just go right down, and usually the archer will be on the far left, and you just basically go to the right. One spear guy will go take care of the archer, and then you're good to go. I mean, either way works fine. Doesn't really matter. This is a really easy part. It shouldn't, you know, nothing crazy should happen, but pug lobbies will be pug lobbies. Oh, good swing and a miss there, Bebop. So those guys are not really awoken, and they're not really a threat. I believe it's a swordsman and a crawler. But, oh, no, it was an archer. So yeah, they got aggroed, and there you go, healer. Get you some. But DPS should always keep an eye on the door and go over there and take care of the archers, or yeah, only archers. If it's a crawler or a swordsman, just leave them be. But if somebody rolls back too far, a lot of times healers play distant. Healers, you got to realize sometimes the safest place is closest to the tank. If you go far and they're chasing you, you're only gonna get most likely killed. But you know, here we go, and a wipe. Well, one guy stays down, so not technically a wipe, I guess. But yeah, this last dungeon, I'm never running it again. I'm never running again unless I got a speedrun group, and they also have to change Chartist. Chartist is just such a waste of my time. Like, it's just so stupid. But this week we couldn't get anybody to run Adepts. So this week was just terrible. The speedrun group pretty much gave up. So I don't know if we'll be getting back together again. I'm trying to find more people to run with on Marama and do speedruns with. So if you're interested, let me know. But yeah, I think I'm done with Laz for a while, for a good while. And maybe might have to take a break from New World for a little bit. Pug lobbies are fine and all that stuff, but man, it's just frustrating. When you get used to running speed runs, it just really is hard to scale back down. And that might sound a certain way or whatnot, but it is what it is. It's just hard to do these slow ass runs. So like dark matter really doesn't matter anymore compared to what the shards were, right? And really we shouldn't have went down here being a busted run, but that guy was down. If he wipes, he's gonna come back up and bring all these enemies up there into the next fight, and you don't want those problems. Plus it's just good to, you know, let's get some mob count and see if we can recover from this. Good practice. Just basically trying to show this guy how, you know, to tank a Laz. Tank, you should always have your back toward the wall here, or, you know, to the door or the wall, whatever you call it. And just trying to time your hammer abilities out, because if you switch to sword and shield like that to get your whirling blade going and you get bounced out the club, it could create a problem for everybody after that. Stay on the hammer, stay in the back, you'll be good to go. Swing and a miss. Now, the guy that wanted me to run this and tank it, if you are watching the lost stopwatch conversation that we were having earlier, it was way too much to type. But is it good for tanking? It's excellent for tanking. Now, there's a couple different ways you can go about it. If you feel like you want to change out the protection every week to what your group's going to be running, if you have a full group, if you have a full group and y'all are going to be running, let's say, you know, Lazarus this week, or maybe next week a need, and you change it to that mutation type, then you could basically, you know, you don't have to have carnelians in your weapons, you know, as long as you have the stopwatch on. But I believe the best way to go about that is to use it on the bosses. I believe Schmeck, which is probably the best tank in New World, he uses strike protection on his lost stopwatch. That way when they go into boss fights, I believe most of the bosses in this game do more strike than anything else, so that way he doesn't have to change it. But that way also you can go into boss fights and you can put a moonstone or whatever gem you want into your sword to maximize DPS. Your taunts will be strong enough with the Lost Stopwatch. You do not need Carnelians. And so if you want to max out like that, you can. Other than that, if you're thinking about going with a shield for your protection, let's say you want to run the Lost Stopwatch but have the mutation type protection on your shield, just know when you switch to the hammer that 15% protection is gone, and so you're more vulnerable. So if you're fine with that, then okay, the hammer's got a lot of survivability and a lot of fortify, so it could work. But just be, you know, cognizant of that. So really 3 ways you could use it. But yeah, it's such an excellent piece. I have frozen protection on mine because when I first got mine, I always hated tanking the frozen mutations the most. And so I wanted to make sure I had that stopwatch in there because a lot of times you get rooted. And I don't know why I just put that protection on there. I wish I would have just put strike protection on there, but you know, I haven't changed it and don't really want to change it. I don't tank as much as I used to, so that might be changing here soon if I continue playing and going along with this game. But there's got to be some changes, and hopefully the next season or two, you know, this game turns around. All right, right here, you want to bring these guys up, fight them on the stairs always. The crawler to my back should be coming to me, aggroed, so the big guy's coming back. I'm trying to see what the crawler's doing with that healer. Pretty sure the healer knew the crawler was coming. Not sure. But Gravwell, oh, yeah, if it would have came a little bit sooner before putting vines down, it would have been nice to have a good grouping there. See a lightning strike coming down with the Melnir hammer. That thing's pretty dope. But you know, hammers are secondary weapons only, should never be used as a primary. Unless you're in PvP, I guess. I'm not really sure. I'm not a PvP dude. In PvE, your secondary weapons, you know, hammer, great axe. What else? Ice Gauntlet, Fire Staff, Void Gauntlet. You know, those things, musket, all secondary weapons. Hatchet, all secondary weapons. Never, really, I wouldn't even include the hatchet in that. Hatchet is just kind of irrelevant to the game. It's not really much of a use for the hatchet. I mean, I guess in a need, maybe the last boss you can use it. You can use it pretty well in the last boss on Savage Divide, but as far as running throughout the dungeon, nah, no, there's just other stuff that's better. But I believe here at Chartisfied, there's one guy that's heavy hammering the whole time, which never ever should happen at an M3 level. That's one of my things I hate seeing. That shit pisses me off. I actually was talking to my group about making a video of running exactly what we hate to see most in pug lobbies. And flamethrower guy that is sitting there with the flamethrower, oh my god, that guy. And then the bow guy that sits back just shooting the bow throughout the dungeon, that guy, oh my god. And then the heavy hammer guy. Those are the 3. So we were gonna have all 3 DPS. That's the only thing you could do throughout the dungeon. You know, I mean, you can throw a Gravwell to kind of group them up and then shoot your bow or flamethrower or whatever the hell. But I still want to do that video. Just see how long it takes us to get through a friggin' dungeon. But yeah, don't do that. Any one of those, don't ever do that. Now, Fire Staff could be really good, but don't sit there with the flamethrower. Not the move. That is such a bot move. Oh my god, don't be that guy. Please don't. And don't be the guy with the bow. I mean, if you want to switch to the bow, do the area. you know, the area effect to get the dots going and all that, the debuffs. Okay, cool. And you switch to a spear or whatever your main weapon is. Fine, cool. I understand that. You know, same thing with the musket. Don't just be sitting back the whole dungeon doing that. It's such slow DPS. It's terrible. Get a melee weapon. This game is melee dominant in PvE. It is what it is. Get over it. Get in there and swing away. All right, Chartis, the most exciting boss fight in the game. I should have switched these stats before, you know, this last guy, but when I switch to my light gear, sometimes I forget to switch the stats, but we go with 350 dex for the extra critical chance. Not really built out to switch to maxed out light tank set. Obviously, I don't have my round shield, which is a DPS loss, but I wasn't trying to, you know, max out tanking stuff this week. I had all my DPS stuff for 2 accounts, and I had tank sets for both, and also for depths, tank sets for both, and DPS. So it's just too much making sets. I'm not trying to do that every week, and when I don't have a full-time, you know, group to run with. Plus, if the tank switches to what my stats are, you know, in light gear, he's adding a lot more than a 300 con, you know, a heavy tank will, you know. So DPS should be a lot better this way, but this is the slowest DPS I've seen in an M3 for you know, this boss fight that I can remember. And I don't know. Seeing how long it's taken is just brutal. And that's why I will never ever run another pug las ever again until they fix this. And this stupid hand strap. But this hand strap, if it wasn't there, I actually wanted them to run, because they asked, do you want to do the hand strat? And I said, you know what? Actually, I don't. I want to do old school strat, the proper way. Because I wanted to see how bad we would get lasered because our DPS was so low. And that's with me switching to light and under 50 con, you know. And I really wish we could have. I bet we would have got lasered, I mean, so hard. But, you know, with the hand strat, you just come over here and, you know, get all the guaranteed criticals. But it's still going down slow as hell. We still got to do heavy hammering the whole time, bro. And if that's you that wanted me to tank, I'm sorry, bro, but hell no, don't ever do that shit again. And don't ever put on defensive formation again, bro. Oh my God, please don't. Please don't. Because everybody, when you get in a mutation and they see that, they're just gonna be like, oh, Jesus. I mean, I'll be like, all right, cool, hell yeah. The dude's okay, cool. I'm gonna go sword and shield DPS with a spear. That's like my favorite thing to run. I never get to run it because tanks are always, you know, leadership. So yeah, if you're running defensive formation, you're just costing your team hella DPS. 40% less DPS, or usually at least 30%. That's why it's hard for me, as much as I love greatsword tanking, it's hard for me to greatsword tank because I just know we don't have leadership, and man, we're losing a lot of DPS. Same thing with the flail. And the flail's just so damn weak. When they upgrade it here in the next season, okay, cool, whatever. But it's just so weak right now. You're at such a, if you have good DPS, you're most likely gonna struggle with aggro with the flail. I mean, if you have regular pug lobby DPS, then you'll be just fine with the flow. And if you do tank, never go above 300 con. 300 con, 300 strength. Or 300 con, you know, 250 strength or whatever you can. Some of your stats might be skewed with dex. You know, I know how heavy, you know, tanking gear gets, but you want to try to get as much strength and much, you know, up to 300 con as you can. So yeah, if you're interested in speedrunning and you want to, you know, come over to Marma, I will be, you know, looking for, you know, teammates and a new group to run with. I know my tank, he really wants to run, but he has no faith in finding new people, and I don't blame him. But he is kind of fatigued on tanking, I can feel, so I might just switch over to full-time tank and let him DPS, but you know, I don't know. That's a tough pill to swallow. I've tanked a lot, and I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I had more fun running my alt this week than I did with mutations, ranking up. I had more fun doing that. Farming iron, like just weird shit. I don't know. I feel like I might be getting burned out, guys. Might have to find something else to play in the meantime. Oh. Bro, what are y'all doing? Why are you dying to fire? All right, well, thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, let me know. I stream every night, 7 p.m. Central. I'm out. F this.